Hey guys, it is Sabrina, and today it is time to do a little bit of an unhaul. I don't know, I have trouble saying that. A little bit of an unhaul. Don't know why I thought that's so weird. Let's breeze past that. It's been a little bit while since I've done one of these, and I'm constantly getting rid of books and listing them on my Pango. So if you're interested in any of these books, you can find them there. But let's just get talking about them right away. No time to spare, no time to waste, everything's good. So, let's start with a little bit of a controversial one. That is Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I actually don't know what this book is about. I bought it a long time ago, but I recently heard people were talking about her new book with the Women's Prize for Fiction, and I heard that she's a bit transphobic, and maybe some people don't agree with that, because I guess what she was trying to say is that trans women aren't the same as women, that they're different somehow. And I guess she doesn't agree with the idea that she's transphobic, but I think that's transphobic rhetoric, and I think that trans women are real women, and I'm not interested in reading her books now. So this has just been sitting on my TBR for a while, didn't want it there anymore, so I'm getting rid of it. I think all the other books on this I have read though, so if you're worried about that being a theme, it's not. The next book on this list is Down Below by Leonora Carrington. This is a fever dream of a book, and not in a good way. This is my first New York, what's it called? New York Review Books. That's the publisher. It's my first book I've read by the publisher. Is the thought I was trying to say. I can't say anything. Anyway, this is Leonora Carrington talking about her experience in a mental hospital that she was taken to after the man she was with got put in a concentration camp. I was just really expecting this to be really emotional and really hard hitting, and I was just kind of confused the whole time I was reading it. So, not for me, but I hope someone else finds it and loves it. Then we have If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. This book follows a group of women living in Seoul. I couldn't remember the name of the city. Living in Seoul in an apartment building. Some of them are roommates, some of them are just friends. Another is just someone who lives in the apartment building, and it talks about their different lives. I don't really, I remember the plot of it. I don't really remember my thoughts too much, other than thinking that it felt like not much happened, and I was waiting for there to be some character growth or some plot device or something. I just felt like nothing was going on, and it felt a little bit pointless. I did like the book other than that. I ended up giving it 3 stars, but it's just not something I feel like I need to hold on to. Next, we have Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. This is a book that follows a murder that takes place on a train, and they're trying to figure out who on the train could have done it. I actually did like this. I gave it 3 stars, just like I did with the other one. The thing about this is that Agatha Christie has written so many books, and I recently got a library card, and I'm on Libby constantly now. And because of that, I feel like I can just read her books digitally, and I don't feel the need to hold on to all of them, because it's not it's a 5-star best book I've ever read. It's just a book that I like, so I don't feel the need to hold on to it for the rest of my life, especially because I think I'm going to read her whole catalog at some point, and I don't want to have 1,000 books on my shelf just dedicated to Agatha Christie, so some people might, but I personally don't. The next 4 books are all books I read in the Romantasy reading vlog I did in February, so if you want to hear my long thoughts on them, you can check the video out. I'll just go through these quickly. First is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Meyer. This is a romantasy book following a woman who's an assistant to a villain, and then she falls in love with the villain. So bad. Such a bad book. It makes me question how it even got published. Real bad. Then we have Psyche and Eros by Luna McNamara. This is a retelling the story of Psyche and Eros, who, it's a love story. I just didn't really like it. That's all I'm going to say. It was just okay. Actually, I don't even think it was just okay. I think I did not like it. I just didn't. If you want to hear my thoughts, you can watch my video. I'm not going to belabor that. Then we have The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. This book, it has a certain death magic, and there's this one girl who has this death magic, and then the king arrests her, and he wants to use her because he says that the prince is trying to overthrow his monarchy, and it's this whole thing. As every book is. Every book is a whole thing. And I actually liked this the most out of the reading vlog, but I don't feel the need to continue with the series, and if I do, I don't feel the need to keep all of them all on my shelf. I could just read the next book in the series just to read it if I want, but I didn't like it enough to really keep it, so. This one was less romantasy, more just fantasy. I also didn't really like the love triangle. I didn't like how the person she was choosing to out of love triangle, so. Then we have Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. This book is silly, honestly. It follows like these, is it seven? It's like the seven princes of hell or something. And this one follows the Prince of Envy, and it's his love story. He's like playing this game to win back his court because his court is falling apart because of this one reason. And he meets this mortal, and she's more than she appears, but he needs her for the game, and then they fall in love, and they have a lot and a lot and a lot of sex. This is pretty much just a smutty book. I did not like it. Next, we have Little Eye by Samantha Schweblin. This book was really, really interesting. Like, I almost thinking about not getting rid of it, but I think I'm going to after all. So it follows these little things called Kentuckys, and they're these little animals, and like stuffed animals almost, but they can move around and they can like make noises and stuff. And the thing is that some people have these little animals in their house, and some people are controlling these little animals from their house. It follows basically any like thing that would result from that dynamic. Like, you have people blackmailing, you have people like torturing the little animals and little kids watching, and you have like people using these animals as like their only friends, or there's like a community of these animals that are trying to break free. It's like a whole thing. I think that this book would have been strengthened by only focusing on like one narrative instead of trying to figure out everything that could possibly happen out of this dynamic. Because personally, I feel like that would have just nailed it more for me. But I do think it's a really, really interesting concept. I'd love to read more by this author. So the next 3 books were in my video where I read Julian Baker's favorite books. So I'm so sorry, Julian Baker, but our book taste did not align. And the first book I want to talk about from that video is Incendiaries by R.O. Kwon. This book is essentially following a young woman who like joins a cult. Didn't hate it, to be honest. I did like this one, but I just didn't like it enough to keep it, so it's leaving. Next, we've got The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. This book takes place in India, and it follows these twins, and it takes place when they were like very young, and their cousin came to visit, and there was an unfortunate death. But it really follows like every single member of this family and tells their life story and like how they all got to the point where they're at. And it also talks a lot about like the caste system in India and racism. I thought it was interesting, but I didn't overall like it that much, to be honest. I would read more about this author just to give it another test. The writing was really nice, though. It was like a really lush book. I agree with that description of it. After that, we have Cherry by Nico Walker. I love this cover so much, but this book follows this guy who went to, where did he go? I always think it's Afghanistan, but I think it's Iraq. It's Iraq. He has his girlfriend, and he signed up to go to Iraq, and then he comes back from Iraq, and then he is doing a bunch of drugs, and then he starts robbing banks. It was actually written by an author who is currently in prison for doing those exact things, and I just didn't like it. It was misogynistic, the writing was bad. I mean, the best thing about this book is that it was written by someone who's currently a prisoner and like told his story, but I think his story would have been more interesting as a memoir than as a fictional book. I know he's also writing a book about his experience in prison. Even though I didn't like this book, I think I might pick that one up because it just sounds more interesting. This one, like, everything I just gave you about the plot is like all that fucking happens. It's just so boring. I did not like it. Next, we have 10 Minutes, 38 Seconds in the Strange World by Elif Shafak. This is a really interesting premise. So it's essentially at the very beginning of this book, our main character dies. She's left to die in a garbage bin, and the book is following the 10 minutes and 38 seconds that she's still, like, her brain is still alive and, like, processing her life before she dies. And then after that happens, it's following the story of her friends that are trying to find her. There's just something about this book that didn't quite do it for me. I still think it's really interesting. I'd still read more by this author. I liked it. I just didn't love it, so I don't feel the need to keep it on my shelves. But I would actually recommend it if it sounds interesting to you, because I'm not quite sure what it was about this book that turned me off. I think it's just a me thing. Very imaginative, very pretty writing. And then the very last book on this unhaul, this has been a very quick unhaul video, but I've gone through a lot of books in a short amount of time. The very last book in this video is nonfiction. It's Revolutionary Feminisms. This book I just did not get on with. It's essentially interviewing like 10 or so academics about their work in feminism. But it was hard to read because it talked very in-depth about these theories that I was not familiar with. It's not very accessible. I did have someone comment on the video being like, not all books need to be accessible, which I think is a very valid point. I don't think all books need to be accessible to like a wide general audience. but that is something that I personally look for in my books because I'm a reviewer. I like to read books and then like recommend them to people. And if I don't think a book is like accessible to everyone, I don't want to recommend it necessarily. But even apart from that, I don't think this book is easily made accessible. It's not like you just have to research one or two theories to like understand what they're talking about, but every single person they're interviewing mentions like 5 or 10 things I've never heard of in my entire life and discusses it in depth. So it's like you'd be constantly researching things just to try to understand like a page or two of the book. It doesn't seem really worth it in a cost benefit analysis personally. I think this book would be really interesting though if you've read from these interviewees before and are familiar with their work. For instance, I really liked the Angela Davis section. I didn't like the Sofia Federici section, even though I've read from her before, because I've only read one of her works, and it ended up being like a little bit transphobic, what she was saying, which I did not like, and doesn't really make me want to read more of her work, even though I still think the stuff that she talks about is really interesting, because she talks a lot about, like, reproductive labor and, like, labor in the house that women do, whatever. I'm getting off on a tangent now. I just, like, it gave me a good basis for people that I'd like to look into more. Like, I'd like to understand these interviewees' theories and what they're talking about. So I'm going to look them up and read from their books, but I don't really think this book is a necessary read for anyone, to be honest. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how I feel. So there you go. Those are all the books that I'm getting rid of this month. I'm sure I'll be doing another one of these very soon because I get rid of books like crazy. That's because I have no room on my shelves. I wish you could see my room right now. I don't want to show it because it's embarrassing. It's way too messy. But over here there's a pile of books. Over here there's a pile of books. There's a pile of books on the back of my bed. Pile of books over there. It is wild in here. I need to be getting rid of books, so I'm sure you'll be seeing more Unhaul soon. Let me know what you thought of any of these books, if you think I should keep any of them and give them a second chance. If I'm getting rid of your favorite book and you want to curse me out in the comments, go ahead, because I don't really care. Anyway, it's just my opinion. I will see you later with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!